Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you very much for joining us today. So we wanted to seek your good wishes and your blessings so that we can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, and his eternal consort, Srimati Radharani, by engaging in the nectar of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which has been very, very kindly and mercifully provided to us by our Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was so instrumental in painstakingly translating the Bhagavad Puran for us. And the least we can do is try to study it, try to understand, if not able to give to others as well. So this is such a wonderful opportunity that we have of, it's a rare opportunity to be able to associate with the devotee Bhagavad and the scripture Bhagavad. The devotee Bhagavad is very, very rare, but also the scripture Bhagavad is rare. So we should consider ourselves very, very fortunate souls. So we can make the most of this opportunity. So we have been looking at the pastimes of Daksha and Shiva and Sati, how she left her body, and how Daksha was forgiven by Lord Shiva, and he continued to perform the sacrifice, and Lord Vishnu himself appeared and blessed him with his presence. So now, chapter 8 onwards, Maitri Rishi discusses some other points and some other amazing personalities. So chapter 8, this is a very nice sloka. We thought we'd recite this together. Paritu Svyatastata Tavan Matrena Purusha Devo Pasaditam Yavat Viksheshwara Gatim Buddha.
The process of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very wonderful. One who is intelligent should accept that process and be satisfied with whatever comes, favorable or unfavorable, by his supreme will.
This is Narad Muni preaching, and we'll see in what context in a little while. But this is a really phenomenal instruction. This process of God consciousness, of the chanting and the reading and the hearing, is very wonderful. So we are involved in that process. And if we have any intelligence, we accept this process, be satisfied with whatever comes. This is all the mercy of the Lord. Whether it's favorable or unfavorable, that's beside the point. It's all the mercy of the Lord. So it's very, very, very sweet prayer. So Dhruva Maharaj leaves home for the forest. This is the title of the chapter. But in the beginning, Maitri Rishi very quickly, in 5 verses, describes another aspect of Brahma's creation. Another son of Brahma, irreligion, along with his wife, falsity, created a dynasty of the causes of the devastation. Each set of children married each other, producing a succeeding generation. Irreligion's 2 children, bluffing and cheating, produced greed and cunning, who produced anger and envy, who produced kali and harsh speech, who produced death and fear. This is the disciplic succession of adharma, who produced excessive pain and hell. So in 5 verses, he summarized, and then he moved on very quickly. He didn't want to linger on this aspect of the creation. This aspect of the creation has to be there because this is the material world. And our karma leads us into these different paths, which if they were not there, then how can we fulfill our horrible past, the actions of our past? How can those fructify? So unfortunately, this is part of Brahma's creation, part of the Lord's creation, so that it facilitates our bad karma to manifest itself. But we can choose whether we want to linger on it or not, and Maitri Rishi chooses not to. So he then starts talking about the sons of Manu. How many sons were there of Manu?
2.
Okay. What were the names? Not you, Riansh.
Priyamvrata.
No, not you.
I'm going to mute you. I'm going to come permanently mute you if you keep on.
Anybody remember the names?
Manu and Priyavrata.
Manu was the father, right?
Uttanpad and
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
Manu. Manu is not Uttanapad is father of Manu.
What? No, it's the other way
Son.
around. Oh, yeah, that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying.
Other way
That's
around.
good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So who was older? Who was older? Does anybody remember? Was it Priyavrat or Uttampad? Who was older?
Uttanpad.
Actually, Priyavrat is older.
Oh.
And normally you would speak about the elder child first. But Maitri Rishi talked about the younger child, Uttanpad, because there's a very important personality who appeared in that dynasty of Uttanpad. That's Dhruv Maharaj. So Maitri Rishi wanted to go straight to the nectar, Dhruv. And so now he talks about Uttanpad, and we'll see in the next canto, 5th canto, he starts talking about Priyavrata. So one son of Manu, Uttanpad, had 2 wives, and they had 2 sons. I think most devotees will know this, right? Dhruv and Uttam. The names of the 2 wives were Suniti and Suruchi. The latter being the king's favored wife. So Suniti was no longer in good favor with the king. So Surichi was very close to the king. One day when Dhruv was trying to climb on the lap of his father, Suruchi, the mother Uttam, enviously told Dhruva that he was unfit to sit on either the king's lap or the throne, until or unless he took birth from her womb. So of course, this is an absolute impossibility. It's not going to happen. So that's basically what she was saying to Dhruva. You will never sit on the lap of the king or sit on the throne. Although the king was equally affectionate to both sons, because of Suruchi, he remained silent. So this 5-year-old boy was insulted by his stepmother, and the father, he was silent. He didn't say anything. So this is the wonderful painting which sort of depicts. This is Dhruv here. Suricha's telling him, get off the lap of the father. She's very envious. Why she wouldn't let him sit there? Yeah, because of simple envy. And what did Dhruv do? He became very, very upset. So, upset and angry, Dhruv tearfully went to his mother, who embraced him on her lap. After hearing what happened, she was aggrieved and advised her son to fulfill his desire. To fulfill his desire, he should worship the Supreme Lord. In fact, that's what Surichi advised him, that there's no way you're going to sit on the king's lap or throne. So you go and pray to the Supreme Lord. And Suniti actually confirmed that. She said, you should worship the Supreme Lord. Always keep him in your heart, and don't be envious of Surichi or your brother, Uttam. And don't inflict pain onto others. She gave him some really good advice. Suniti gave her son Dhruv wonderful advice. He was only a 5-year-old boy, right? I don't think she didn't think he would take this very seriously. But he did. Then Narad Muni comes in the picture. Seeing the proud child, Dhruv, leaving to perform austerities, Narad was astonished. He had heard, And he always is at the right time, at the right place. He actually knew that this Dhruv was no ordinary personality. But he was astonished, this 5-year-old boy, how such a young Kshatriya could not tolerate the insult of his stepmother. He was only a little boy, and it was only a sharp exchange, but that's all it was. Anyway, it shows that the Kshatriya blood can be very, very strong and cannot even tolerate a little insult. This is the nature of Kshatriyas. It's partly their dharma as well. So Narad Muni tested his resolve by trying to dissuade Dhruv from going to the forest. With sweet words, Narad explained how difficult it was to please the Supreme Lord by the process of mystic meditation. He told Dhruv to go home, and when he grew up, he could think of following this path. Better to tolerate and be satisfied in happiness and distress. That was his advice. So go home. Go and get your mother to make you some gulab jamuns and forget what your stepmother has told you. Live in peace, be satisfied, tolerate. Good advice, right, for a 5-year-old to a 5-year-old. But Dhruv's Kshatriya spirit was very, very strong. Although appreciating Narad's instructions to return home, Dhruv expressed his inability to follow the sage's advice due to his Kshatriya temperament. Instead, Dhruv asks Narad Muni how he can attain the goal of achieving the most exalted position in the universe, more exalted than even his great-grandfather. So his father is Uttampad, his grandfather is Swayambhu Manu, and his great-grandfather is Lord Brahma. So Dhruv had set his mind on a position more exalted than even Lord Brahma. So he was so insulted that he thought, nah, I'm not going to settle for the throne. I want the throne of my grandfather. No, I want the throne of my great-grandfather. No, I want better than that. So he was fixed in his determination, and he knew who to ask. Narad Muni presented himself. And what did he do? He asked Narad Muni, you're a great exalted sage. Tell me the way. So Narad Muni instructs Dhruva, confirming the advice of Dhruva's mother. Narad encourages him to perform bhakti to Lord Vasudev's lotus feet, to go to the bank of the Yamuna, a place called, I haven't written it down there, Mahavan. He asked him to go to a place
in Vrindavan.
In Vrindavan, indeed. That's right. Where the Lord resides eternally. There he should take bath. So this is the instruction Narad gave him. Take bath regularly, 3 times every day in the Yamuna's sacred waters. And perform Astanga Yoga. That's the yoga where you meditate and you fix your glance on the tip of your nose and sit up straight in a yogic position. Very, very difficult to perform. This is Satya Yuga, however. Satya Yuga, people had a lot more capacity within themselves to do these things, more self-discipline. Free from material contaminations, Narad recommended Dhruv to meditate on the Lord with an undisturbed mind. So Narad had no motive apart from he wanted Dhruv to fulfill his desire to worship the Supreme Lord. This is the most amazing picture, actually. 5-year-old boy. So then, meditation of the Lord's form. Narad then described the Lord's form, which is very beautiful, with his happy disposition, beautiful bodily features, many ornaments, and 4 arms holding his divine weapons, symbols. So that description is there again. We saw that description a few times already in the Bhagavatam, in the third canto. So I haven't reproduced it here. But that is the form that Narad Muni described to Dhruv to meditate on. Narad then advises that along with meditation, Dhruv should chant a secret mantra, which he speaks into his right ear. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Of course, this mantra is given in the Bhagavatam, so it's not a secret. But when the guru, especially a guru like Narad Muni, speaks that into the ear of the disciple, that has huge potency, huge potency. He also described how to install the Lord's deity and offer the Lord fruits, flowers, tulsi leaves, and water. Narad described how Dhruv should meditate on the Lord's pastimes. Thus the Lord would fulfill all his aspirations up to attainment of liberation. So Narad Muni gave him one class, just one class, one Bhagavatam class. That was enough for Dhruv, 5-year-old boy. Accepting Narad as his spiritual master, Dhruv requests permission to leave, circumambulates, and offers obeisances to Narad. So Narad knew, of course, that his father would be in anxiety. So whilst Dhruv went into the forest, Narad went visiting the palace of the king, Uttampad. He finds the anxious king lamenting and regretting his unkind dealings with Dhruv. Because of his attachment to his wife, Suruchi, and his subsequent cruel neglect, the king felt Dhruv might now be in danger, as he is unprotected in the forest and might be hungry, tired, and wild animals may be attacking him. So he was in great lamentation, as you'd expect. And he realized that he'd made a terrible mistake by favoring one son against the other, one queen against the other. Narad consoles the king. Narad explains to the king the exalted position of Dhruv, how Dhruv would become famous for his success. So Narad Muni already saw the character of Dhruv. He knew that Dhruv was such a determined personality, and by the strength of his own spiritual potency, he'd given a lot of his mercy to Dhruv. So this is the power of the spiritual master. He can make the blind man see and the dumb man talk. This is the beauty of the spiritual master. So how Dhruv would become famous for his success and how he was being protected by the Lord. Narad explained to the king that his son was very competent, and after performing tasks difficult even for demigods. What is that task that's difficult for demigods? To please the Supreme Lord. Very hard to do that. He will soon return home. Hearing this, the king became absorbed in thoughts of his son, Dhruv. And then the Bhagavatam of 10 verses describes the tapasya of Dhruva. And this is pretty intense. Arriving at Madhuvan, Dhruv begins his austerities. First month, he eats fruits every 3 days. This is really, really austere. We just finished Purushottam Mass, we've just finished Damodar month. Devotees may have fasted. And it wasn't necessarily easy, but look at this, fruits every 3 days. That's in the first month. In the second month, he would eat dry grass and leaves every 6 days. This is not palak paneer. This is just dry grass and leaves. Third month, he drank only water every 9 days. This is really heavy tapasya. Satyayug, bodies are different, more capable. But there, even then, this is incredible tapasya. 4th month, he would take a breath only every 12 days. So this is really, really intense. Fixing his mind on the Lord, he stands on one leg. Feeling the weight of his austerities, the earth trembles. As he holds his breath, the entire universe begins to suffocate. So how is this even possible? How can that happen? When a bhakt begins austerities, the Lord gives him everything. Immediately gives him everything. So there are 8 mystic powers that one can get. One can become heavier than the heaviest. One become bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest, like that. There's 8 different mystic powers. So Dhruv already mastered those. And just by him having one leg on earth, he became more heavier than the whole total body of the universe because of his spiritual power. Due to his concentration on the Lord, he became the total heaviness. Due to his spiritual power, his body unit became the total body of the universe. This is pretty extraordinary stuff. When he held his breath, it was like the whole universe was beginning to suffocate. So when this was all happening, the demigods, they approached the Lord because they were in difficulty. This tapasya was really, they didn't even know what the source of this difficulty was. The Lord, he explained that the disturbances that they were feeling were due to Dhruv's austerities. And Lord Vishnu promised the devatas that he will stop Dhruv very soon by giving him his own personal darshan. So this is the interaction between the Lord and his devotees. Firstly, the demigods, his devotees, approach the Lord and the Lord pacifies them. And Dhruv is, of course, aim is the Lord, he pacifies. The Lord pacifies Dhruv as well. Oh, what happened?
That's it.
Is that it?
82. Yeah.
Oh, okay, wow. That's right. So next part is tomorrow.
Mm.
Yes. Any questions? Anybody fancy attempting this tapasya? Are you all?
Haribol Nabi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's a interesting point though, because on one hand, devotional service, Narad Muni first of all explains to him to do a Ashtanga yoga and all that, which Dhruva actually rejects. He says, "This is not for me." No, so he went. But then when Narad Muni then explains the devotional service part of it, where he describes the features of Supreme Lord and then how to perform devotional service and all that. But yet, Dhruva still carried on with the yoga practice of this fasting and...
Yeah. But he didn't reject the Ashtanga. He combined it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to see here, that his whole practice was a combination of both.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then
Go on.
No, and as a result, then he obviously got to such a stage that he became heavier than the heaviest, which caused a kind of a not disturbance, but certainly the power, the spiritual power, which even the demigods started to feel. So they had to approach Lord Brahma. But this is pastime of Lord, so yeah. So do you expand on that? But
Indeed. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Here also it's written that depending on the time, place, and circumstances, you can make a deity out of any material that is available. So Dhruva made deity of the Lord with earth, right, and water. That's what was available for him. So it's not that when we see the deities in the form of earth or of metal or of wood, we should like discard it. It's actually the Lord is present there. It depends on your bhav also, what kind of sentiment you have towards the Lord. So all this is explained, and how to pray to the Lord, that also is described very in detail, what we should do. And Dhruva, even though he was 5 years old, he abide to all these rules, and then the Lord like was obliged to come in front of him due to his austerities and the tapasya that he was doing. It's very amazing. I couldn't sleep when after I read this last night. How can a 5 years old do all this, leaving home? But then, as you said, in Satya Yuga, maybe even though he was 5 years old, maybe he was more mature than we can think of, right? Yeah, thank you.
Even for that age, it's pretty unprecedented what he did. Not many, there's only a couple of like Prahlad and Dhruv who really stand out.
But we should know that if you get a guru like Narad Muni, everything may be possible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't give only benediction. I think he gives some of his powers and his knowledge and his capacity and everything. Yeah.
Because yes, like within the order of the guru is also the ability to carry out the order. So like Prabhupada gave the example, his guru told him on the first meeting, go and preach this to the Western world. And even though Prabhupada initially questioned him, he always accepted that order on his head.
Yes. Even after 40 years, he didn't, after 40 years, he carried out the order. He could not do it because he was grihasta and he had his business. And also after 40 years, he still remembered and carried it out.
But he was saying this was preparation. That was preparation.
Yes. Even in Vrindavan, he was giving class in English, and everybody was thinking why? Because he was practicing. Nobody knew what he was doing, but he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
And if he had come earlier, like many of the Gaudiya Math sannyasis did come early. Bhaktisiddhanta sent 2-3 sannyasis, but it was very difficult. It's very, very difficult. But somehow Prabhupada, right time, right place, right bhakti, right devotion. Yeah, he just did it, right faith. Sharmila? Sorry, Madhusudhan.
No, and I think he came at a time when it was just right, when the people were
ready,
in the right frame of mind to receive him as well.
Yeah.
Even though in a very, very humble way. I mean, there were hippies, and the mood at that time was in America, it was quite ready to receive, So otherwise, there were so many other gurus have come and they've caused havoc, actually, some of them like Rajneesh and all those, but no, it's Krishna, arranges for the right time for his devotee to do his part of the service, which he had to do.
Good. Sharmila, do you want to say something?
No, I wanted you to explain the Ashtanga Yoga, please, if you can.
Oh, okay. Ashtanga Yoga is basically what Krishna describes to Arjun in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And because Arjun wanted to go to the forest, and he wanted to leave the battlefield, and he wanted to just meditate. That was his desire. So Krishna said to him, okay, no problem. You want to meditate. So you have to do this. And then Krishna gives him the process of Astanga Yoga. Astanga Yoga is basically where one focuses the mind and the intelligence on Paramatma, but with the discipline of how the body is in what sort of condition one does that meditation. So what Astanga Yoga is, basically you have to sit back straight, folded like in a Padmasana, and your eyes should be just slightly open, just looking at the tip of your nose. And your mind is completely absorbed in Paramatma realization as a minimum. And you stay in that position for a very, very long time. And he says in that chapter, the yogi who sleeps too much, sleeps too little, you're not a yogi if you eat too much, eat too little, sleep too much, sleep too little. And Krishna gives him the whole process of Astanga Yoga in just about, I think, 15 verses or something like that. And then Arjun turns around to Krishna and says, impossible. I can't do that. I can't control my mind. I can control the wind, but my mind is very strong and obstinate. It's easier for me to control the wind than to control the mind. So Krishna then said to him, yes, you're right. And this is what I've been trying to tell you, that you, your dharma is as a Kshatriya, not as a yogi. You're supposed to fight. But then Krishna also gives him the how to control the mind, even as a Kshatriya, by practice and by detachment. And then Arjun says to Krishna, I've heard what you've said about the yogis, and I've got a doubt. What if the yogi, he takes this process of Astanga Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, and he fails because it's so hard? Is he neither in this world or in the next, or in the spiritual world? He's lost in both places. He's left the material world, but he ain't made the spiritual world. So he's nowhere. This is my doubt, Krishna. Please satisfy me by explaining to me what will happen to that devotee. And then Krishna very, very nicely says, whoever does bhakti, that person is never lost. I preserve what he has and I carry what he lacks. Something like that. So this is a fantastic dialogue in the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. It's worth reading that again and again because Krishna is so reassuring to Arjun. And he's reassuring to us that if we engage in this path of bhakti, even we may not make it, but nothing is lost and everything is gained. Does that make sense, Sharmila?
Yes, Prabhu, beautiful way you.
Can I add something here?
Yeah.
Yes. So this Astanga yoga process, it will take very long just to set, because you have to have a seat at certain level. You have to have kusha grass and then a deer skin and then soft cloth. Just to sitting and try to put your back erect, that also will take time. And to control your mind, because if, say, somebody's in a cave, the mind will be wondering, a wild animal will come, a snake will come. So it's difficult. So instead of going through all these devotees, like people who come into this Krishna consciousness, for us, this guru, when we have a guru, it's like an elevator. So we can go through different yoga system that is like stairs. We take the stairs. We may reach, we may not reach, but if we get a guru in Krishna consciousness, that's like the elevator, straightforward. Hare Krishna.
Very nice point, Maji. So that's the point. Astanga Yoga is something that in this age of Kali Yuga, we cannot practice it. Hence why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. And he gave us the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the holy names. And that is the easiest way to connect with the Supreme Lord, by chanting the holy names.
Krishna Prabhuji, we think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has no weapon, but he came with his weapon Hare Krishna.
Very nice. That was his chakra
Weapon.
to destroy our sins. Very good. Very good, Riyansh. How many rounds you chanting, Riyansh?
Daily chant 8 rounds.
12.
8.
Sorry? 8. Very good. Wow. Even with your exams?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Wow. That's amazing. Good boy. Whew. Very good boy.
His
Okay.
parents must be, Riyansh's parents must be.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Riyansh.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
How are you? His parents must
What
be.
Mataji?
Yes, Riyansh, let's see you again. Let's,
We know your camera is working. Come on.
there he is. It's a nice,
It's
nice
so sweet.
cut.
Oh, sweet. Oh, all this. Hello, Riyansh, sweet boy.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
What time do you go to sleep?
I sleep at 10:40.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
wow.
Wow.
Hare Krishna, Riyansh.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Nice to see you.
Oh,
Yeah.
with haircut. That's
It's
right.
very, it's very nice to have your darshan. We get purified.
Where's your hat? Where's your hat today?
Okay, very good. Good boy. Thank you so much.
Well done.
Krishna Prabhuji, every day I will chant, every day I will read one chapter translations.
Of Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Good boy. Good boy. Anyway, focus on your exams. And after that, we got some things for you to do.
Okay, Prabhuji. Today
So,
my exam is social.
yeah, but it's still important, okay?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Very cheeky boy.
He's an amazing boy. Yeah, very good boy.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Maji.
how
Yes.
long did, it may be mentioned in the future chapters, I don't know, but how long did Dhruv Maharaj do his tapasya or his Ashtanga Yoga
Just 6
tapasya?
months. 6 months.
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
It's there.
In that age, people used to do for 60,000 years. Sometimes, like Vishwamitra. But in for the case of Dhruv, because it was so intense, his bhakti was so intense, his austerity was so intense. 6 months was, if he'd done any more, this universe would have collapsed. So that's why the Lord approached him and said, enough, I will give you what you want.
You must have been
Earthly 6 months or
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
who knows?
Yes,
It
yes,
was
yes. Earthly 6
earthly
months.
6 months.
So in Aniben?
No, he must have been an exalted soul to be having such power at such a young age. Wonder what he was in his previous life.
Yeah, good question. I'm not sure about his previous life. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have a look, see what we can find about
After
his
this, he
previous
doesn't
life.
have any more lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
I
his
think-
last life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But does he eternally, like they say, there's a Dhruv star or something? Dhruv,
Yes, that's right. We'll
he
see.
has his
what
own
next
planet,
And
doesn't he?
Prabhuji, he rolled
Yeah.
this earth for 1,008 years.
No,
This earth.
36,000 years. 36,000.
And he gone to Godhead after that. And he
No.
asked Lord Krishna that my stepmother has shouted at me, but she have to come with me to spiritual world, he asks.
Very nice, very nice. So we'll see that in the next few chapters. So don't, what was it?
Give away the story. Kill the suspense. Huh?
Steal the thunder. Very good. Very good. Okay, if there's no more questions or comments, let's go to the yes. Good.
Lessons.
Let's go to the lessons and then the instructions. Yeah. So Induleka Maji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, Lessons, Chapter 1. Whenever we make a promise, we must fulfill it so that peace and harmony can reign in our life as it is a long-lasting value. Chapter 2, we must never judge a person by their appearance as it may be misleading. We must always consider that there is a spirit soul inside the body. Chapter 3, when one becomes proud of their possession and position, they become blind spiritually and they cannot discriminate positively. Thus they tend to offend others. Chapter 4, people who are envious and who offend devotees, taking them to be materialist, gradually but surely fall down. Chapter 5, the Supreme Personality of Godhead never tolerates the insult of his devotees. He personally comes to punish them. Chapter 6, whenever we offend a person, knowingly or unknowingly, we must seek forgiveness from them and try to render some service to them. Chapter 7, when we are punished by our elders or guru, we must take it as a blessing in disguise because they are just trying to put us on the right path. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So I'm just reading something by Kadamba Kanan Maharaj. He's saying that Dhruv's previous life is described in the Vishnu Purana, that he was a Brahmin and he was very close to a particular king. And as a part of that friendship, he began to see the opulence of the king, and he started to having this desire that I want such opulence. So it looks like in his previous life, he had started getting this desire to obtain opulent life, kingly life. So this doesn't seem to be anything particularly exciting, but I think what transformed him was Narad Muni's instructions, because when you meet a guru like Narad Muni and he gives the blessings and the instructions, that really does make you a standout personality. Just like Prabhupada became a standout personality because of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The power of the guru is very important. So interesting. Yes.
Yeah, I read in this chapter only that Narad Muni was sent by Krishna himself
Right.
to look after Roma. Yes, and so he was there. He came there.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
To test Raghunath's determination.
Yes.
That's why
Yes.
Krishna sent Narad Muni.
Yes, that's right. Because he was only a 5-year-old boy.
Younger than you, Riyansh.
Mind you, younger than him, but in Kali Yuga, it's a different kettle of fish, It's like different...
Yes.
Different...
And Prabhuji, in Kali Yuga, the demon and the devotee will be same.
Yeah, in the same body.
Yes.
Because Kali kills us if we do bad mistakes.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah. So let's have a look at the instructions. Madhusun Bhu.
Hi, Haribol. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Let me just get... So yeah, interesting. The instructions are obviously Narad Muni instructing Dhruva, and then her mother instructing Dhruva as well, and all that. So starting from that point where she cannot find a remedy for Dhruva's anger and disappointment, so she's obviously instructing him quite rightly as well. So there's in that one, she also breathing heavily when she gets angry, and then she doesn't know what the factual remedy is for this painful situation. And then she says to her son, "My dear, you shouldn't wish anything inauspicious for others." And that's quite true. We should not think badly of anybody or inauspicious things to others. And anyone who inflicts pain upon others suffers himself from that pain. So that's an instruction for us to take, is that if we cause pain to others, then we'll get pain as well. So it's better, not to do that. And then she said, "My dear boy, you should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So they were the right kind of correct instructions, rather than, Kali Yugi mentality might be, you go and take revenge, or something like that, which is not nice. So then Narad Muni instructs Dhruva as well. And then the great sage Narad told Dhruva Maharaj, "The instruction given by your mother to follow the path of devotional service is just suitable for you. So you should therefore completely absorb yourself in the devotional service." And then following that, the description of the process of devotional service, and also the description of the Supreme Lord, the yellow garments and the bluish tinge of the body and the kastuba jewel, and all those descriptions, are well worth for us to study and implement in our lives. And I like the part where Narad Muni instructs, and then Mataji just confirmed that you can have a form of the Lord can be made out of earthly metal, earth and water in form of a Lord, and then metal. And so we got deity forms, which manifest sometimes in the lives of many, many devotees and acharyas. In Vrindavan, there's so many examples. And maybe don't have time, but I could have gone into some pastime of one great devotee, he was a king. Sorry?
You can do that on Sunday if you like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So that deity form, which I quite like, the Salagram Shilas, and that form that we worship, we offer tulsi leaves and fruit, and your Krishna Balaram are wonderful as well. Thank you. Yeah, nice to have darshan of them. Okay, Haribol.
Thank you very much. Very good. Very good. Yeah, it's always nice to hear pastimes, because when we hear these pastimes, they actually melt the heart. So thank you. Thank you, Babu. So if there's no other comments, we can go into Nashinga Kavach. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Canto 4 ki jai, Dhruv Maharaj ki jai, Narad Muni ki jai.